So today I'm finally making a start on the Husqvarna service then. I'm going to begin by changing all the hoses over because this little one here has got a leak and I've got a nice new Samco hose set up to replace the lot. So let's just crack on with that. Starting off then I'm going to use a 6mm spanner or a screwdriver to get this one off. This is the left hand side. I can't get in there with a normal socket set or a screwdriver because the pipe is in the way. Next up, I'm going to loosen this pipe. There's a screw inside there that goes underneath the frame part here. You just follow this pipe along and you can see it straight away. It's in there, and it's just a case of another 6mm spanner or a screwdriver, depending on what weapon of choice you want to use. I'll just loosen them all the way off because there's no point just loosening them partially and then having to fight them. Just loosen them all the way. If they come apart, they come apart. Moving up to the right hand side of the bike, another one here on this pipe. Hopefully you can get into this one nice and clearly. Again, loosen it all the way off from here as well. On the right hand side of the bike, we're going to follow the pipe over to this one here, and we're going to undo this. That is underneath there. Unlike the other clips, I'll be leaving this top one in place because the others get replaced with the new Samco Jubilee clips, whereas these are the originals and will stay where they are. The last thing to do before I can pull the radiator off is take off the louvers. Now I know I could have disposed of the coolant before taking the pipes and the radiators off, but to be fair, it just went over the flow and evaporated anyway. There wasn't much of it, so I'm happy as it went. So I've got the first radiator off. I'm going to start disconnecting the other side, and then hopefully we can look at this pipe to see where the issue was, to see where that leak was coming from, because it's a bit unusual for it to come from the edge. It's normally a bit further in due to wear and tear against the engine. So that's the second radiator off, and again, not a lot of coolant came out of this one, so I think the last ride out, bearing in mind it was full before I left, it obviously has lost a lot of coolant over time, so that could have been on the ride or just been slowly dripping up in the air, but I haven't seen any telltale signs. I just noticed the leak when I took the tank off the other day, so good job I spotted it really, and it's a good job now we've got new hoses and everything else to go back on. Now, due to corrupt footage, I'm going to have to talk you through what I did next because the footage is gone. I used a Dremel to cut through these two collars because they're seamless, then used pliers to remove these two pinch clips. And then the rebuild is just the reverse, except instead of having 5 pipes attached to the thermostat, you've now only got 3. Now, I'll be transparent with this. This is not like the easiest jobs in the world like I kind of thought it was going to be. I just thought it would be pull a couple of hoses off, replace it, and then put it back on, but it's just a bit fiddly. The two pipes there, the one that goes from the cylinder head and the one that goes up into the T-piece, they sort of, the clamps sit and rub against each other, so you can't really move them like freely the way you'd want to, especially in this position now where they're connected. So I've had the top one is trying to come away from the thermostat, and the Jubilee clip then is moving over the top, so it's been a bit of a pain, but I'm kind of happy where I'm at now, so I'm going to start tightening everything up. In hindsight, I wish I had just bought the bypass pipe and got rid of this thermostat, but we live and learn, and I think that'll be a video for another day because I do plan on keeping this bike for a long time. It's probably worth saying at this point that I kept all Jubilee clips really loose so that I could manipulate the pipes if I needed to, so that they were in the correct place.
because like I mentioned, they are tight, and then when you're trying to fit it to the cylinder head and then the one to the T-piece, they kind of do need a little bit of twisting just to get them seated right, so that that bottom hose doesn't rub completely against the whole engine.
So this is the only one I haven't done anything with yet, so I'm going to just disconnect that from the bottom using this screw here. Oopsie.
As this is the first time I've ever fitted a radiator to a dirt bike, I thought I'd leave it run on unedited just to show anybody that uses this video as a reference how easy it is to put it in. Basically, that's all I did was I connected the bottom pipe of the radiator to the bottom hose. That was the hardest part because the new hose was obviously a little bit tight, but once it got in, it was no problem at all. From there, it was just a case of connecting the top pipe to the top hose in the frame, and then connecting the middle pipe that obviously goes from the thermostat to the radiator. And with the right hand radiator in place, it was time to start tightening everything up, making sure the Jubilee clips were in the correct place before moving on to the left hand side of the bike. The left radiator was even easier to fit than the right because there's just two pipes to connect, and that's the bottom one from the thermostat and then the top one. And with the coolant system back together, it was time to get the louvers back on the radiators along with the horn. And obviously not forgetting to reconnect the overflow pipe.
Now that she's back together, then it's time to stick some coolant in. I've got the Motorex M3.0. It's got oat technology in it, allegedly, whatever that means. So all that's left to do now is I need to start the bike up, get the coolant moving around the cooling system to release all the air that's trapped inside. And once that's done, I'll top up the radiator with some more coolant and then close it off, and then check all the pipes to make sure there's nothing leaking from those. But other than that, I've got a BMW that I've got to go and fix now, so I'm going to bring this video to an end. Thanks very much for watching.